Hi, I'm Josanne Wright Callender, the author of the Happy Little Garbage Truck picture book and educational system. I spoke yesterday about the teacher's guide. There's also an activity book for children so that each day they can do an activity related to the lesson that they've learned. It includes a lot of wonderful games and puzzles and I think ideas to help build their understanding of the literacy part of the book, which also is the most important part to help a child feel good about themselves, is when they can read and read fluently and also being able to decode words. So I have a lot of activities that help children to play with the words, find different ways of looking at their meanings. But there's also the social skills part of the book, which or the activities, which in the teacher's guide we guide children through games and learning how to have a healthy self-esteem, which is the basic reason that this channel exists, is to help teachers and parents and children on My Fun Day Mondays um, encourage children to have a healthy self-esteem. And that's why, and this week, we've been looking at Z. Hereford's article, How to Have, How to Think for Yourself, rather, How to Think for Yourself. And to me, this is really an important part of being a teacher, is that we're building the foundation from which a child can grow to be a productive member of society, a happier person. And thinking for yourself is huge because we've been talking in the past about bullying and how children, especially children with special needs, want to feel a part of their groups, and having other people tell them how they should think or what they should do is sometimes a challenge. So teaching a child early on how to think for themselves is huge. It's not like it's a, but Z. Hereford did it a little bit more eloquently. That would be as far as I could go. But she broke this down into four component parts. And we're doing part number four. The first one was having a healthy self esteem. The second one, find my article, was being well informed. And the third one was being flexible to changes that can occur. And this fourth part, identifying biases, as I said yesterday, is pretty difficult. And I, pondered how to even present it because I have a difficult time identifying my own biases because they're usually an unconscious part of just how we decided to think or respond to different situations and or individuals. So in order to identify those biases and not just go through life saying, oh, I don't have any biases, everybody does. Um, there is a way that we can, I'm going to talk more about the way tomorrow, but just looking at how we can model this so that we can help our children form a more unbiased way of looking at situations, which helps in good decision making, I must add, because when you are looking at something or an experience clearly, you can make a good decision on how you're going to respond. But if you're letting those subconscious or unconscious biases dictate your decisions, then you might just make the wrong decision. And what I was thinking about is that it basically means that we're taking time to slow down our reaction time and evaluate what really happened. So this really kind of connected me with a previous topic that we talked or spoke about, social autopsies. And that's Richard Lavoie's area that he introduced, which I truly love. He introduced this strategy for students who needed to find out what happened in the social interaction. And number two, what can they do better the next time around so that they can improve on their interactions with others. So I thought, pardon me, this was his strategies are a really good way for us to look at perhaps what are our biases that are interfering with us making a fair and even-handed and open-minded conclusion, or coming to an open and fair conclusion or decision. So one was going into, first of all, going into a situation, look at what we said or did as if we were someone else, an outside observer. And, scientists and doctors, they do autopsies and looking at a student a patient's situation, they do a clinical autopsy. But first of all, with our autopsy, we're looking for the root of our errors instead of what could be an antecedent of this person having this medical illness. So we are looking at and identifying, first of all, our errors. What happened? That's our first place we come to, because we know something didn't quite go right. Or, I believe everybody wants to go into a situation being fair, open-minded, caring, and coming up with conclusions that could extend that social interaction. So we're looking for whether or not we are being a fair, caring person. So identify the error. What happened? You can tell by in certain situations when we're dealing with individuals that there was some body language. Oh, I must have said the wrong thing. Then identify if there was a person hurt by the error. And that was something that in Richard Lavoie's social autopsy, that is usually the crux of the matter, where the student is looking back and saying, oh, I could have said or done something differently. But in our case, I think the good question is, was I being fair? And then number 3, decide how to correct the error. And so this fits in with his program when he says to the student, next time, what are you going to do differently? And so we evaluate our behavior and our conclusions that we sometimes jump to through those biases and say, that is an area that I can work on. How can I go into this next time without that same kind of error? And then finally, develop a plan that will give you a better sense of who you would like to be in this encounter. So we're going to talk about some other ways of identifying biases tomorrow. But thank you for subscribing and sharing, and we'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.